Hey everyone, just a heads up about what you're going to get on today's episode. We're going to be discussing the Bond 60th celebrations, whether they were good or bad. We're going to look at all the things they released this year, such as With a Mind to Kill, the new Ian Fleming book, the documentary The Sounds of 007, and of course, the re-releases of all James Bond films in cinema, looking at the box office and how well they did, and the surprises that they brought, coming for you in this episode. As all of you Bond fans know, this year we've been celebrating the 60th anniversary of the James Bond film franchise, and wow, what a milestone. It's times like this, I have to say, I'm just so honoured and proud to be a Bond fan and just to be a part of the celebrations in so many different ways and all the great things that have come out. These big milestone celebrations in Bond, they're always honoured and celebrated so much. I remember back when we were doing the 50th anniversary of Skyfall and Bond at the Olympics and so many other great things that were happening. It was a terrific time, and the 60th anniversary big month has now been and gone. Obviously James Bond Day was October the 5th. Here at this channel as well, we did our own celebration with Bondtober, the first launch of that. And I think it's now time to ask, was the whole 60th anniversary special really that special? Did we celebrate the Bond 60th anniversary in good spirit and great form? Were there some really highlight moments? Was it a bit of a damper compared to previous ones? That's what we're going to look at today in the video. But before we get into any of that, can I, as always, if you haven't already, why not consider subscribing to the channel? Do give this video a like and comment and subscribe, and let's get into right now some of the great things that we had during the 60th celebrations of James Bond. So one of the things I really want to bring up first here in talking about things that we got to celebrate James Bond this year was the new Anthony Horowitz book, With a Mind to Kill. Now, I'm not gonna lie, this is now probably my second time reading it. Just brought it back out from my bedside table to bring here, but I have to say, this is definitely, a shout out, one of my favourite books ever written after the Ian Fleming's death. I think that With a Mind to Kill is one of the best continuation novels ever done, and written by one of my favourite authors, Anthony Horowitz. He writes so incredibly well, and he really does, I feel, with his other books as well, he really does tap into that style that Ian Fleming had done and really carries on while making it his own. The plot with A Mind to Kill, if you don't really know it, is this is a continuation after the novel The Man with the Golden Gun. Bond's come back from that mission, and M works with Bond to come up with a new ruse against the Russians to imagine, let's say that Bond did kill M at the beginning of The Man with the Golden Gun, and now Bond is trying to defect back into Russia to try and stop a group of people. Now, I just don't want to get into more detail on that because I really feel I would be so spoiling it for you, and I really don't want to, but suffice to say, it was an amazing book. It's an amazing read, and I think it's also definitely one of the best Ian Fleming continuation novels we've ever had. I thoroughly recommend getting it. I'm going to show it to you again here. You know the book, With a Mind to Kill, and it was, for me, certainly a great start to celebrating Bond's 60th this year. Another thing that we got this year was a brand new documentary focusing on the music and the history of music with the 007 franchise, The Sounds of 007. This was an Amazon exclusive documentary premiering on James Bond Day, October the 5th, and right off the bat, I'm going to give you my thoughts right here. I think this whole documentary was one of the best new pieces of material we as Bond films have to enjoy. I absolutely love this documentary. I always felt that the music of Bond, even though it is certainly well celebrated and well loved, not enough, if you will, attention or a real own standalone documentary or part of the Bond franchise really focuses on the great, amazing music of Bond. And for me, this is what this documentary did in spades. It just delivered. I have to say, the behind-the-scenes stories that you get in this documentary were really, really interesting. One of my favourite bits was actually right at the beginning, where it was talking with John Barry and Monty Norman creating the Bond theme, if you will, together. It was just an amazing thing and just great as a Bond fan to watch. Another thing that I really love, which was also actually quite heartbreaking, was the story about how Amy Winehouse nearly did do the song for Quantum of Solace, and you can see in the documentary Barbara nearly almost like breaking, just remembering it all and how hard it was at the time, and you can't help just feel like you were right there at the moment. You just want to just help Amy Winehouse so much, but obviously it didn't happen, and Jack White and Alicia Keys stepped in. And again, do you know what? Everyone knows this. I am not a fan of the song Another Way to Die. It just has never worked for me, ever. Nothing personal against Jack White and Alicia Keys. But I love it in this documentary how Jack White says, you know what? It's my song. I presented it. Some of you probably didn't like it. I knew that going in. But I stayed true to myself and made my own version of a James Bond song. And for that, I just give him so much respect. It's unreal when it comes to that. Now, with that being said, there are a couple of issues I do have with this documentary. Now, number one is how it's really all out of sync. One of the great things about, say, like Becoming Bond or Everything or Nothing, the documentary we had for the 50th anniversary, was it went linear. It went from the beginning all the way to the end. This documentary, it sort of jumps different periods. You've gone from a 60s song to like a 90s song, to a Craig song, to a Dalton, to a Moore, to a Sean, to another Sean, to a Pierce. It's so convoluted. I think that is one of the big weaknesses of this documentary. I wish a bit like Everything or Nothing, it just started from the 60s and moved down, and we could have seen the passage of time go with it and see the journey more clearly about the music. It's almost like a sort of Christopher Nolan, Stephen Moffat timeline of the events of the James Bond music history in a weird way. If you get that reference, all to you, but that's the best way I can describe it. But overall, for me, again, I think The Sound of 007, well, I already know this. It's a documentary I can watch repeatedly. I've watched it now about 4 times already, and I still find it enjoyable each time I watch it. Now, another thing that we got in the UK this year, which I know so many of you US fans are really pissed off with that you didn't get, was the re-releases of all James Bond films in the cinema. And can I say, I think without a shadow of doubt, I think this has been a really, really massive success. I myself didn't get to go see that many because of, some of you know, I'm on a budget, I'm saving up for a wedding, can't just go spend money every weekend to go to the cinema. But I decided if I can't watch so many of them, I'd at least just watch the special one. And for that, obviously for me, is Goldeneye. For those who don't know, Goldeneye is the first James Bond film I ever saw. I saw it at the age of 4 years old. It got me hooked on loving movies. It got me hooked on loving the world of James Bond. Pierce Brosnan is my James Bond. It is without doubt the special one. And rather about seeing Goldeneye in a true cinematic experience is something I'm going to remember and cherish for the rest of my life. I have never seen Goldeneye's picture look so crisper, the sound so clean and brilliant. It was truly, I felt like I was like rewatching the film for the first time. It was truly an amazing experience. Not only helped by that, I actually brought a friend along with me who wanted to finally go watch it because he had never seen Goldeneye before, and even he admitted that it was a really great film. Another thing that just really made the experience so incredible as far as I'm concerned is actually the cinema I watched it in up in North Yorkshire. It was actually quite packed, and there were like older fans than me, there were younger fans than me, but everyone was sort of like in this hive mind of just enjoying all the exact same moments, from the amazing dam jump to like the beg your pardon I forgot to knock, don't touch that's my lunch, the tank chase in St. Petersburg. Everyone was just, I felt like just a hive mind. Everyone's just enjoying the exact same moments and enjoying it for the exact same reasons. It was an absolutely incredible experience. But I want to go a bit further about discussing these Bond re-releases. So I have now prepared for you a little montage of how much each film did in the UK. Enjoy. So, starting off with the film that made the least money, we have Die Another Day with £6,225. Up next is Octopussy, making £6,449. Diamonds Are Forever with £6,638. Then The World's Not Enough with £6,933. Next up was For Your Eyes Only with £7,631. Next, Tomorrow Never Dies with £7,825. Thunderball comes in next with £7,907. And The Man with the Golden Gun with £8,001. You Only Live Twice made £8,030. A View to a Kill made £8,065. Dr. No made £8,349. Moonraker £8,494. From Russia with Love £8,806. Spectre made £8,992. Quantum of Solace made £9,404. And License to Kill made £9,667. Entering double digits now with The Living Daylights with £10,707. Live and Let Die, £10,767. On Her Majesty's Secret Service with £11,114. Next is The Spy Who Loved Me with £12,844. Goldfinger with £13,960. Then Goldeneye with £16,800. Now looking into the top three, we have No Time to Die, £17,780. Skyfall made £20,361. And at the top of the list was Casino Royale with £21,441. Overall, these films made in their re-release a grand total of overall £145,000. And I think that is actually an incredible achievement to boot. I think if that was just in the UK, how well could it have done if this re-release was done worldwide? I think we could have been looking at some really incredible things. I honestly believe, hand on heart, we could be looking at the £250 million mark for all these films releases, which would have been an almighty, massive achievement. But there are some in there that really honestly did surprise me. First off, I am honestly so shocked that The Man with the Golden Gun did so well, because normally when I hear people talk about it, even just like general fans, they don't talk about it that highly, but tons of people really did go see that movie. I was actually quite shocked that Die Another Day was so low on the list, because so many people I know really do see that film as an ultimate guilty pleasure. And again, there were some great successes like The Living Daylights and Live and Let Die doing so well in the re-releases. I was really, really happy to see that. I'm honestly not surprised that like Casino Royale and Skyfall at the top of the list. I'm glad Goldeneye was near the top of the list, and I'm glad also No Time to Die got quite a bit of change as well. I really do think actually there's no surprise that Casino Royale was the top of the list. It is considered the modern day masterpiece, the On Her Majesty's Secret Service quality level of our generation. And as well, when you think about it, Daniel Craig is still, if you will, the most popular Bond at this moment with the general audience. So it would make sense that a lot of people, that is his best film and the film they would want to go see back in cinemas. So overall, the Bond 60th anniversary celebrations was an overall success, and for me, yes. Yes, we might not have had like a big movie being released this year like Skyfall or Bond at the Olympics, but what they gave us was, I felt, really for us Bond fans. The new Bond book, the documentary, the re-releases here in the UK. It's all these things that actually made a really big impact and made me feel so proud to be celebrating Bond's 60th birthday on screen. And for that, I'm just going to end by saying I'm really grateful for everyone who took part in the 60th anniversary celebrations, who enjoyed this channel's tribute to Bond 60 with Bondtober starting. And just thank you to Barbara and Michael and Albert Broccoli and Harry Saltzman just for bringing these books into the movies and helping us have this glorious fandom. That's how I think I'll sum up Bond 60th celebrations. It was a tremendous, joyful success of the films and our fandom. And for that, everybody, that is the end of this video. If you do like it, don't forget again to like, comment and subscribe to the channel. As always, everyone, my name's Henry Stevens and I'm the Bond Geek. Goodbye.